Those Muslims who are gangbanging, committing crime, caught up into stuff they shouldn't be caught up into. Muslims who are not practicing Islam, sisters who are not wearing hijab.
Who sights the moon in Ramadan? When do Ramadan starts and finish? Does the pregnant woman have to fast? All these questions, plus more, answered in this short book. Now on Amazon.
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabi ajma'in. Regarding the Muslims who made Tawbah, repentance, who turned around from a certain type of lifestyle, those Muslims who were gangbanging, committing crime, caught up into stuff they shouldn't be caught up into, Muslims who are not practicing Islam and start practicing Islam, sisters who are not wearing hijab, now they wear hijab, or sisters who are not wearing proper hijab, and start wearing proper hijab, start learning about their religion. This video is for these type of Muslims who want to go to the next phase. So I like to talk about the different community amongst the Muslims. Within even a masjid, sometimes you have multiple communities within a masjid. And many Muslims don't understand what I mean by multiple communities. Well, for those Muslims like ourselves, those Muslims who may be converted to Islam, many times we have a situation different from our counterpart. And those Muslims who are originally from Muslim countries, we have a different struggle from them. Most of us, our struggles are related to our identities and practicing Islam and being somebody who converted to Islam, and some of the outlash in our society regarding us, or some of the things in our society that we're able to do that some of even the foreign Muslims are not able to do. So we have a different situation, a different type of situation for ourselves, and many times where our family are not Muslim. And this is go back to my other videos now about those Muslims who made Tawbah, who wasn't practicing Islam or new to Islam. Now you start practicing Islam. So I mentioned a lot of things about seeking knowledge. Before I mentioned about seeking knowledge, about having the correct intentions in Islam, the correct niyat, which is for Allah, then having knowledge along with this intention. Knowledge is the forefront of everything after the correct intentions. I had a good discussion with a brother maybe a few days ago on Facebook when he mentioned about the situation of the Muslims, particularly Muslims, African American Muslims, and those who convert to Islam, about the other individuals, whether they're deviant Muslims or foreign Muslims. They have growth in their communities. They're buying property, they're buying land, they're buying different things, but we are not doing nothing. We are not able to buy because we fight amongst ourselves. The reality is that we're not able to do a lot of things, especially if you're African American, from Afro American Muslim background. A lot of us, due to slavery, due to our oppressor, made it a way that we never get the upper hand in this country. So that which they did to us, we won't do to them. So they put a lot of things in our way to prevent us to have some type of economic status. And many of us don't understand this. And it's part of the law, the legal system. You can see here in America, the prison system. And from other people who's in other places like UK and Canada, which their racism is settled. We're here in America, it's a little bit more open. Meaning you see a police kill somebody black and get away with it. Or police kill somebody black who's not a criminal and they get away with it. And not one time, not two times, not three times, but all the time. So there is a certain situation regarding our peoples, black people, whether you African American, Muslim, or Caribbean, Afro-Caribbean Muslim, that there's certain things that you're going to fall into, categories that you fall into, that many of you do not even know or understand or able to comprehend, and many of you would some will even disagree and will not have full information on the whole situation. So this particular video is for brothers and sisters like this. First of all, you need to understand, after the correct intentions and knowledge, and I mentioned other videos, what type of knowledge? The knowledge that surrounds the 5 pillars of Islam. the ins and outs of every knowledge related to the 5 pillars of Islam. First starting with Aqidah, or what is Allah, who is Allah, what is Tawheed, what is the Shahada, the meaning of the Shahada, what is the Shahada, second part of Shahada related to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the other pillars of Islam. This, every Muslim should have knowledge of this, and there is no excuse of no Muslim not knowing these knowledge, the ins and outs regarding to the 5 pillars of Islam, which is not something that is like concise. Either you can learn knowledge, concise knowledge about these topics, but this is knowledge that the Muslim should have full information about. Then other knowledge after that, like the bab of buyu, a business. This video I already mentioned that in other videos. Today, talking about the changes and going to the next level. Now, every Muslim who was not practicing Islam as they should practice, or even convert to Islam, everybody's not looking to go to this stage. Some of them are happy in the phase that they're already in, where they be stuck in it for years until they die. It's okay. It's better than being from what it was on before. But these videos are only for the Muslim who want to go to the next level. A lot of Muslims, they don't want to go to the next level. That's okay. But this video is only for those Muslims who want to go to the next level. Now, I mentioned about what the brother talked about in the topic related to how these other immigrant Muslims are, whether they're deviant or not, how they're able to buy property. Islam is not about buying property. And that's the first thing that many brothers and Muslims, most Muslim brothers and sisters don't understand. Islam is not about buying property. Islam is related to the relationship between you and Allah and worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with knowledge. In many cases that when Muslims get money, that their finances misguide them. And we look into the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that Allah gave them the hidayah, and because they was practicing Islam, Allah gave them financial means. Allah gave them financial means by the means of conquering over their enemies, by the means of business, by the means of spreading knowledge, by the means of them obeying Allah, that Allah that's blessing them with all type of bounties of this world and the hereafter. So many of us don't understand that when we practice Islam according to how we should practice it, Allah is going to give us the bounties. But if we're not practicing the deen as we should, if we're not practicing the deen as we should, Allah might hold back these type of rewards. Why? Because the finances might misguide you. As I know a brother used to give footballs everywhere. Used to have a big beard. Still do to this day. Big beard. Used to give talks everywhere. In New York, give out of masjids. And then I seen his brother 3 years down the line. I seen him 3 years later, on Facebook. He's in the club now with his beard. He has videos and pictures of him in a limousine drinking alcohol with women. Naked women. Pictures of him and his wife, no hijab. And that's because when he was poor, he was practicing Islam. And then when he got a little bit of money in his hand, all his deen went out the window. All his deen went out the window. All the stuff he used to give footballs about, he fell into all these things. And he don't have no shame. And it's very apparent he don't have no shame when I see his Facebook page. So, sometimes Allah don't give you wealth because you're not doing what you're supposed to do as a Muslim. That's what we always mention about intentions and knowledge. So those Muslim communities, they're not growth, there is no growth. You have to first start practicing Islam as should be practiced. Then Allah is going to give you the finances. When you look at the other group of Muslims, the foreign Muslims, you say they're buying land and buying property. Well, first of all, they came to this country for dunya. Kulla amal binniyat. All actions based upon intentions. So they ain't coming for Islam. They came in from Islam. They want to be leading Islam in this country. And they're not. In America, they're not leading Islam. Matter of fact, they're trying to fit in with the non-Muslims and the kuffar. They fear about Trump being president. You know, me as a black Muslim, African-American Muslim, I'm scared of Trump. I'm not scared of Hillary. I'm not scared of none of them. I'm still be Muslim. I'm still practice Islam. Whether you get oppressed or not, I'm still going to be Muslim. Alhamdulillah, I ask Allah keep us firm on Islam. I don't care if Trump be the president. I already know the history of this country. The history of this country, I already know the history of this country. So for sure they hire or elect Trump or Hillary, it don't matter to nothing. They're going to do what they want to do. So that don't scare me. That scared me to the foreign Muslims because they don't want to go back to their country. They fear Trump because Trump's going to kick them out and not going to be able to make the money as they was making it before. It's going to be hard for them making the money. That has nothing to do with Islam. So many of the foreign Muslims in their country, alhamdulillah, because their government established Islam. The government established Islam, and many of the Shaykh Either they, in certain countries like Saudi, they're working for the government, and the government supports them and finances them, like in KSA. They support them. So Islam is given to the people. The people doesn't have to establish the Islam. It's already given to them from the government, the masjids, the Islamic universities, the schooling, the educational system, the economic system is established by their government. Whether it's Saudi, whether it's Kuwait, or any country in the Gulf, whether it's Jordan or Egypt, no matter how much people hate these governments, but they help establish the Islam in their country. We don't have that in America. We don't have that in UK. We don't have that in Canada. We don't have that. So you have to establish a community for yourself. Now, for some of the foreign Muslims, they have the funds. But because they don't have the correct intentions, because they didn't come here for Islam, and personal intentions can change. It could be negative, become positive. And it could be positive, become negative. And I'll talk about that in another video. So, their intentions can change to positive. Let's go back to us. Why their movements sometimes they don't know, they don't have the know-how, because in their country the Islam is given to them, the masjid is established, the communities are established, the Islamic education is established, it's given to the people. So a lot of times when they come here to this country, they try to mimic what they have in their country. In some cases they're not able to do so because they lack the knowledge. They cannot mimic having knowledge. You can't mimic having knowledge. Either you have it or you don't have it. So within their circles at times, they fall into many disagreements and argument and fighting because, one, they lack the solid knowledge of Islam. Only thing they have is hearsay. They heard this sheikh said and heard that sheikh said and don't know the difference between the statement of the sheikh and the statement of Allah and the statement of his messenger, and they don't know what type of scholar is a scholar. What makes a person a scholar? So they just have a lot of hearsay. So this is why within their communities, which you probably don't see, but they have a lot of fallouts and disagreements, especially when there's money involved. Sometimes money becomes lost or misused because they use a lot of these things for front and they don't have the know-how. So let's go back to people like who converted to Islam or made Tawbah. They want to make changes. Those from those backgrounds like African American, Afro-Caribbean, Hispanic, Puerto Rican, Dominicans, and etc. South Americans, and the white minority who become Muslim. This is the opportunity for you to understand and see that you have to have Islamic knowledge along with the correct intentions. You must understand community and community growth along with community economics. Because once you get the wealth in your hand to establish something, like the brother mentioned in the Facebook comments when he was talking about these people building this place and building that place, but they are not together. People misuse the money. And when they start buying property, it's individuals buying property, not the community buying property. So to you, this individual's buying property, he's might telling you, oh, this is for the community, whether it's for his own financial gain. But you just believe whatever they tell you because you don't understand the ins and outs of doing things. So it's very important for the Muslim to have the Islamic knowledge, because you have the correct intention and you have the knowledge. You are networking with others like you, then you're able to build. And a clear example of this is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He first called the people with what? To worship Allah, starting with his what? His wife, his household, and his close companions. They was able to establish Islam. When the Prophet went to jihad, when he fought and struggled for Islam, was he the only one in the battleground? Or did he have his companions with him? So we understand you need community. You need people who are committed. And you first of all, you need knowledge. You're not going to have the finance before you have knowledge. It doesn't work like that, even in business. You have to have the business plan before you have the finances for the business. Because if the business plan is not clear, then when you get the money, all the money is going to be wasted. So this video is for us brothers, sisters. Start thinking. Don't be content with where you're at. Try to always go to the next level. And many of us, We don't go to the next level because ourselves. Self. Nobody else. Not the foreign Muslim. Not the Muslims who got money. Not the Muslims who don't got money. Not the Muslims who want to build something. Compared to those who don't want to build it, they're not the problem. We are the problem. We're not committed and we're not ready to make sacrifices. So the only way we're able to make these moves is based on intentions, correct intentions, along with knowledge, understanding community, networking, and economics. So those different communities I mentioned from before were amongst the Muslim in the West, like maybe the Afro-American community in America. You have to start understanding that, hey man, you have to come together first based upon Qala Allah, Qala Rasul, and learn how to work as a community. If you cannot work as a community, then don't waste nobody's time. And don't prevent the people who are trying to do something from doing something. And this is what we have a lot in our communities. Those Muslims who are just complainers and not trying to build nothing and trying not to do nothing, just point and complain and complain and complain. Just stand out the way. But people try to grow. Because an individual like that, you know, when you die most of the time, your non-Muslim family going to bury you as a kafir. When you get in some hardship and the problem, who are you going to come to in the Muslim community? You're going to go to the people who's establishing things. So you're not trying to help, stay out the way. And we have many of those Muslims like that. They just complain and they stay in the way. Just be quiet and step out the way and let people do what needs to be done, and just be quiet. And if you're not able to help, just be quiet. That's the form of helping. If you don't know how to help, just stop complaining and step out the way. Just step out the way. Move. Let the new blood come in. Move out the way. Maybe your offspring will benefit from it. So just move out the way. And for those people trying to establish something, it's not going to come except with sacrifice. You're going to go through hardship. You're going to go through hard work. You're not going to get money. You're not going to be rich from this. Maybe you be rich from your own means and your own ways of doing business, being successful. But as a community growth, you have to make sacrifices. Read this, the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ made many sacrifices. But it was established with what? Correct intentions for Allah and knowledge. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik wa shalla wa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.